Welcome, and thank you for being here. In this video, we are going to walk through exactly how to write and publish a research paper in a peer-reviewed journal, step by step. This guide is based on an article by Dr. Cara Bushey and Dr. Elizabeth August, published in the Journal of Cancer Education. It is designed for clinicians at any level, whether you have never written a paper before or you have tried and not quite known where to start. By the end, you will have a clear, practical roadmap you can begin applying to your own research today. Let us get started.
Scientific writing is an essential research skill, yet most clinicians receive little formal training in it. Communicating your findings is the vital step that moves medical knowledge forward, allowing your clinical work to influence practice worldwide. This video provides a clear roadmap to help you master this process.
Here is something that might surprise you. Scientific writing is one of the most important skills in medicine and research, yet most clinicians receive almost no formal training in it. We learn anatomy, physiology, and clinical reasoning, but very few programs sit us down and explain how to write a paper that actually gets published. This is especially true in lower resource settings, where mentorship may be limited. And yet, communicating your research findings is how medical knowledge moves forward. Your clinical observations and data could change how doctors around the world practice, but only if they are written up and shared. That is exactly why this skill matters so much. Before you write a single sentence, there is one step that is completely non-negotiable: ethical clearance. You must obtain approval from all relevant institutional review boards, your IRB, before you begin your research. Not halfway through, not afterward. Before. This protects your study participants, ensures your work meets international ethical standards, and is a hard requirement for publication in any reputable journal. Most journals will ask you to include an explicit IRB statement right inside your methods section. If you collect data without ethical clearance, no level of writing quality will get your paper published. Ethics first, always. With that in place, let us move to step 1. Here is a mistake almost every first-time author makes. They write the entire paper first and then look for a journal to submit it to. The smarter approach is the opposite. Choose your target journal before you begin writing. Different journals have different scopes, different audiences, different word limits, and different formatting requirements. Writing with a specific journal in mind means tailoring your language and framing accordingly. When evaluating journals, ask yourself, does my topic fit within this journal's scope? Is the audience primarily clinicians, researchers, or both? Is it open access? What is the word limit? And what is the typical turnaround time for peer review? Read 2 or 3 recent articles from your target journal before you start writing. This will tell you everything about the expected style. Authorship is more than credit. It carries responsibility. The International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, or ICMJE, defines 4 criteria that every listed author must satisfy. First, a substantial contribution to conception, design, data acquisition, or analysis. Second, drafting or critically revising the manuscript for important intellectual content. Third, final approval of the version to be submitted for publication. And fourth, agreement to be accountable for all aspects of the work. Everyone on the author list must meet all 4 criteria. Watch out for 2 common problems: ghost authorship, where someone who did significant work is left off the author list, and gift authorship, where someone is added out of courtesy without real contribution. Agree on the author list and order at the very beginning, before any disagreements can arise. Now let us look at the skeleton of virtually every peer-reviewed research paper you will ever read or write. It is called IMRD, short for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. The full structure also includes a title, an abstract, and a references section. Think of it like building a house. The title and abstract are the front door, what people see first. The introduction explains why this house needed to exist. The methods is the blueprint, exactly how it was built. The results reveal what's inside. And the discussion explains what it all means and why it matters. Each section has a specific, distinct purpose, and understanding that purpose is the key to writing each one well. We will now go through every section in detail. Your title is the very first thing an editor, a reviewer, and any potential reader will see. A strong title is specific, informative, and concise. It should tell the reader what was studied, in whom, and ideally what was found. Vague titles are one of the most common pitfalls. Something like, "A study of outcomes in cancer patients," tells us almost nothing. A stronger title might be 5-year survival following adjuvant chemotherapy for stage 2 colorectal cancer, a retrospective cohort study. It names the treatment, the population, the outcome, and the study design. Include the study design when relevant, especially for clinical trials and systematic reviews. And keep it tight. Most journals have character or word limits, so every word needs to earn its place. Many readers and many editors will read only your abstract before deciding whether to continue. That means your abstract must be able to stand entirely on its own. Most structured abstracts include 4 key parts: background, briefly explain the context and why this study was needed; methods, summarize how you conducted the research; results, present your main findings, including key statistics and outcomes; and conclusion, state what those findings mean and what they suggest for clinical practice or future research. A very common pitfall is writing an abstract that does not match the body of the paper. This happens when the abstract is drafted first and then the paper evolves. The solution is simple. Always write or at minimum revise your abstract last, after the full paper is complete. The introduction has one job: to convince the reader that your study was necessary. It does this by moving from the broad to the specific. Picture a funnel narrowing down. You begin wide. Why does this topic matter globally in medicine or public health? Then you narrow to what is already known, citing the key relevant literature. Next, you identify the gap. What important question remains unanswered in the existing evidence? And you close with a clear, direct statement of your study's purpose. A very common mistake is writing an introduction that is too long, going too deep into background, or oversighting tangential papers. Keep it focused and purposeful. 3 or 4 well-crafted paragraphs are usually all you need to set the stage.
The methods section is the recipe of your study. Its one non-negotiable rule is this: it must be detailed enough that another researcher could replicate your study based solely on what you have written. Describe your study design. Is this a randomized controlled trial, a cohort study, a cross-sectional survey? Describe your population. Who was included, who was excluded, and how were participants sampled? Describe your setting, procedures, data collection instruments, and statistical analysis plan. And critically, include your IRB statement here. Common pitfalls include being vague about statistical methods. Do not simply say you used descriptive statistics. Specify which tests you used and why you chose them. The methods section is where scientific rigor either shines or falls apart. The results section has one golden rule: report, do not interpret. Present your findings clearly and objectively, and save all explanation for the discussion. Start with a description of your study sample. How many participants? What were their key characteristics? Then present your findings in a logical order, typically moving from descriptive statistics to your main analytical results. Use tables and figures effectively. A well-designed table can communicate in seconds what would take several paragraphs of text. A very common mistake is repeating every number from a table in the running text. Instead, highlight the key finding in a sentence and direct the reader to the table for the full detail. And a critical rule: do not include any interpretation of what the data means. That belongs exclusively in the discussion. This is where your paper truly comes alive. The discussion is your opportunity to explain what your findings actually mean, in context, with nuance. Start by stating your main finding directly at the very opening of the discussion. Then, compare your results to existing literature. Do your findings agree with or contradict previous studies? If they differ, can you explain why? Next, acknowledge your study limitations honestly. This is a sign of scientific rigor, not weakness. Reviewers will notice if you ignore them. And finally, describe the implications. What do your findings mean for clinical practice, health policy, or future research directions? The most common pitfall is overstating your conclusions. If your study design cannot prove causation, do not claim it does. Let the data speak. Before you hit submit, run through this checklist of the most common and avoidable mistakes. In the introduction, making it too long, oversighting tangential studies,
or failing to end with a clear statement of purpose. In the methods, missing the IRB statement, using vague or unjustified statistical methods, or leaving key variables undefined. In the results, interpreting data instead of just reporting it, or repeating in the text every number that is already in a table. In the discussion, overstating conclusions beyond what the data actually supports, glossing over limitations, or failing to connect your findings back to the existing literature. And at submission, choosing the wrong journal, not following formatting guidelines precisely, and not proofreading carefully. Every single one of these mistakes is avoidable, and catching them now could make the difference between acceptance and rejection.
Let us bring it all together. Research writing is a learnable skill, and like any skill, it improves with deliberate practice. Here are the 6 things to carry with you from this video. 1. Choose your target journal before you write a single word. 2. Establish authorship early, using all 4 ICMJE criteria. 3. Obtain ethical clearance before collecting any data, no exceptions. 4. Follow the IMRAD structure: introduction, methods, results, discussion, and understand the distinct purpose of each section. 5. In results, you report. In discussion, you interpret. Never confuse the two. And 6. Write your abstract last and make sure it can stand completely on its own. You now have the full roadmap. The next step is yours.
If you would like to explore this topic further, the full article by Bushey and August is available as open access. You can find it via the DOI on screen. The ICMJE guidelines on authorship are freely available at ICMJE.org. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more evidence-based education resources. We genuinely hope this guide helps you move from good research to published research, because your work deserves to be read.